Have you noticed how many productivity gurus promise that a few quick hacks will skyrocket your efficiency? It sounds great, but after nearly a decade in consulting and corporate, managing countless projects, leading teams, and growing this YouTube channel on the side, I can tell that most of this advice can actually backfire. To help you avoid wasted time and truly work on what matters, I'm exposing the 5 most common productivity myths that you might have already fallen for and revealing what actually works. Let's dive in. You've probably heard it before. If you want to get ahead, you have just to put in more hours. It's a popular belief, and I've seen many people, especially junior colleagues, fall into this trap. They push through long days, hoping that sheer hours of work will lead to better results. But what I've noticed is that instead of increasing productivity, this approach often leads to burnout. Focus slips, mistakes happen, and the quality of work drops. Here's the truth. Working more hours doesn't always mean getting more done. In fact, studies have shown that productivity drops sharply when we work too long without rest. Fatigue leads to poor decision making, slower progress, and eventually burnout. So what actually works? The key is working smarter, not harder. And yes, I know you've probably heard countless productivity gurus preaching this phrase. But what does it actually mean in practice? Working smarter means strategically managing your time and energy for maximum impact. Instead of grinding through endless tasks, it's about focusing on what truly moves the needle with the least amount of effort. For example, start by identifying your top 3 priorities each day and tackle the most challenging one first while your energy and focus are at their peak. Use techniques like the Pomodoro method, working in 25-minute focused intervals followed by 5-minute breaks to maintain high productivity without burning out. Another powerful strategy is time blocking, where you dedicate specific periods of your day to deep, uninterrupted work on a single task. By setting clear boundaries and knowing when to step back, you can achieve far more with less effort. In addition, I believe that working smart also means to look for support, for example, in the form of AI tools or outsourcing, whenever and whenever it makes sense. Always think about the effort that is required and the impact or result you would expect from a task. So these are just a few of many productivity techniques, but the real takeaway is this. Productivity isn't about cramming in as much as possible. It's about focusing on quality and finding the methods that help you achieve your best work efficiently. Now that we've debunked the myth of working more hours, let's turn to another widely praised strategy, multitasking. It's everywhere, and chances are you've tried it yourself. Juggling emails, hopping between meetings, and tackling multiple tasks at once. In today's fast-paced work culture, multitasking is often glorified. I found myself slipping into this pattern too, especially during busy stretches or virtual meetings where I don't have an active role. It's tempting to squeeze in extra tasks like checking emails or shifting between projects. But every time, I'm reminded that multitasking usually backfires, leaving us more scattered and less effective. The truth is, multitasking comes at a cost. Studies have repeatedly shown that switching between tasks fractures your attention and drains your mental energy. It may feel like you're doing more, but in reality, you're spreading yourself too thin and sacrificing both speed and quality. Mistakes creep in, details get overlooked, and progress slows down. So what's the alternative? Focused single tasking. By dedicating your full attention on one task at a time, you can work more efficiently and deliver high-quality results. When I'm deep into a project, I make conscious effort to block out distractions. No email, no notifications, just one goal in front of me. This allows me to enter a state of flow where I can produce my best work. A helpful strategy here is time blocking. Allocate specific chunks of time for different tasks throughout the day. For example, reserve an hour or 2 in the morning for deep work, followed by a dedicated window for emails or administrative tasks. By structuring your time like this, you minimize context switching and regain control over your focus. Another approach I found valuable is task batching. Group similar activities together and complete them in one focused session. For example, instead of scattering meetings across the day, I aim to consolidate them into a specific block. This not only helps maintain momentum, but also frees up larger periods for focused work. The bottom line, real productivity isn't about doing more things at once. It's about doing fewer things better. When you focus deeply on one task, you'll achieve more with less stress and greater satisfaction. Now, if you found these practical but powerful tips helpful so far and want even more beyond this video, sign up for my newsletter via the link in the description and start making real lasting progress today. Another energy drain can be the selection and usage of tools. I mean, it's easy to get caught in the allure of so many shiny productivity tools out there. There seems to be a tool for everything: task management, collaboration, time tracking, you name it. Many people believe that the more tools you use, the more efficient they'll be. I've seen this happen often and again, especially when teams or individual colleagues adopt new apps hoping to magically streamline their workflow. But instead of making work smoother, too many tools often create more confusion and stress. You end up spending more time managing the tools themselves, switching between apps, syncing data, and trying to remember where you stored that crucial piece of information than actually doing the work. In my experience, most of the time, more tools can lead to distraction, redundancy, and overwhelm. The reality is, true productivity comes from using fewer tools well and not more tools poorly. So what's the best approach? Start by evaluating which tools genuinely serve your needs. Ask yourself, does this tool simplify my workflow or does it complicate it? Focus on consolidating and sticking to a core set of tools that address your key tasks. For example, I rely heavily on a few core apps, one for task management, one for note-taking, one for team collaboration, and of course, one for email and calendar management. Everything else is secondary. Even though my core apps slightly differ from personal to professional setting, having this clarity prevents tool overload and keeps my focus on the work that matters. If you're already drowning in tools, try conducting a productivity audit. List every tool you use and its purpose. Identify overlaps and determine which ones can be eliminated. By doing so, you'll regain control, simplify your work process, and spend more time actually getting things done than just juggling around with tools and apps. But of course, feel free to try out new tools from time to time. That's also what I do. However, don't become a slave of your tools, because always remember, a fool with a tool is still a fool. While we're on the topic of tools, let's talk about another mindset that can slow you down just as much: perfectionism. I've seen so many talented people get stuck in a cycle of tweaking, revising, and overthinking, convinced that everything they do has to be flawless before it's shared. It's a trap, and here's why. Perfectionism doesn't lead to success, it leads to being stuck. The reality is, waiting for perfection often means progress stalls. That report doesn't get sent, that project doesn't launch, and that idea stays stuck in your head because it's never good enough. In my experience, this mindset is especially common in high-pressure environments where mistakes feel costly. I see it a lot with new joiners, but also seasoned professionals who want to prove themselves, maybe to get that next promotion. They believe everything they deliver has to be perfect and worry that even minor errors will reflect badly on them. I get it, because I used to be the same early in my career. I thought perfection was the only way to stand out. But over time, I learned that striving for perfection often means missing deadlines, losing momentum, and adding unnecessary stress. What's the alternative? Focus on progress, not perfection. Start by aiming for good enough to move the needle forward. For example, when I'm working on a big project, I'll focus on delivering a strong draft rather than obsessing over every detail. Once it's out there, I can refine and improve as needed based on real feedback. Another helpful mindset shift is embracing iteration. Think of your work as a series of steps rather than a final masterpiece. By viewing projects as ongoing processes, you allow yourself to make improvements without the pressure of getting it all right at once. In addition, I believe it's crucial to align and manage expectations with your counterpart, client, or boss. Openly discuss what they're looking for and share your preferred working style along with the reasoning behind it. This creates a collaborative approach where you can align on sharing drafts, iterating on ideas, and building solutions step by step. I think it's far better to adjust course early than to aim for perfection and end up delivering something completely off the mark. Perfectionism may keep you stuck, but there's another equally dangerous trap that many people fall into, believing that being constantly busy equals being productive. I've seen this play out so often. People rushing from one task to the next, filling every moment of their day with activity and wearing their busyness like a badge of honor. But the harsh truth is, being busy doesn't mean you're making meaningful progress. In fact, constant busyness often leads to burnout and shallow work. You might feel like you're accomplishing a lot, but at the end of the day, you're left wondering, what did I actually achieve? Productivity isn't about how much you do, it's about doing the right things that really matter. So how can you break free from the busyness trap? Start by prioritizing your tasks. Each morning or the evening before, identify the 1 or 2 things that will have the biggest impact and focus on those first. I found that asking myself, if I only accomplish this today, will it move the needle forward? Helps me cut through the noise and focus on what matters most. Another tip is to build buffer time in your day. Instead of cramming your schedule to the brim, leave room for deep work, unexpected challenges, or even just time to think. Some of my most productive ideas have come from moments of reflection, not from rushing through tasks. Finally, another simple but very effective tip is to learn to say no. It's easy to say yes to every meeting, email, or request, but doing so spreads your energy too thin. By setting boundaries and protecting your time, you can channel your efforts into work that truly counts. Remember, productivity isn't about doing everything, it's about doing the things that matter most with clarity and focus. When you let go of the busyness myth, you'll find yourself working smarter, not just harder. So during the video, I often talked about how focusing on just a few key tasks can make a huge difference in your productivity. But knowing how to prioritize effectively and stick to it is a real challenge. So watch this video next, where I'll show you how the 1-3-5 rule can simplify your day and help you achieve more with less stress.